Hey, welcome to Techie Dads. I'm Paul.
I'm Pej. What are we going to talk about this episode?
So this is sort of part 2 of Oculus. We've done some episodes on the Oculus Rift previously, and there was a lot of sort of pent-up demand, I guess, for something that didn't come out until late in the year, which is sort of the next step in VR for a lot of people that own the Rift. People have had the Vive for a while. Have always had sort of the hand controllers.
Right, they've had the room surround and
they've had
presence.
Full room experience and a lot of titles that took advantage of that. Versus Rift, you're basically working with the remote or an Xbox controller, which is good for seated experience, but to get presence, which you mentioned, it really does make a big difference. So here are the touch controllers that come out for Oculus late in the year, 2016. Now they're pretty much generally available. I think they've caught up, and certainly all the pre-order guys are covered, and now you can get them in stores and online. But the main thing here is there's a whole new generation of applications that
take advantage
of this. Not only the sort of the crossover apps that are on both platforms, like the infamous Job Simulator and things like that, that are available on Steam and work on both platforms. And to some extent, you can get into Vive titles, and the software will think you're using a Vive even though you're using an Oculus. So they're pretty compatible that way.
So Oculus has caught up, right, to what's been out there with Vive.
But they also came out with a lot of launch titles. I mean, you get several bundled with the Vive, which I'll
kind of like
with the
thanking all of the early adopters and going, here you go.
You know, it's a significant investment again, and you're going to have to spend on top of that. Get the apps, right? So some come free. I think the best one I got was Dead and Buried, which is a great sort of caricature Western shootout kind of thing, which is really fun.
The one that you had me try, which I thought was a ton of fun, was a climbing game.
Yeah, the climb.
Yeah, that was very, very impressive, and just the fact that, you know, while you knew it was virtual and, you know, you're playing with the hands and stuff, the way your hands behaved and the fact that I was bumping into your desk and doing stuff like that, it felt really good. I mean, that was a very interesting and fun experience.
Right, so with it you get, obviously, the controllers themselves, you get another sensor, so this will be the second one in addition to what you get with the Rift as well, and you can buy a third if you want to do the full room thing. But it is important, the one thing you mentioned there is they have something called Guardian, which is basically you mapping out your room, walking around the room with one of these controllers and mapping out the space that is not obstructed, right, where you're not going to hurt yourself. And then if you ever go close or beyond that barrier, you're going to get sort of this warning mesh that appears within.
Kind of like, you know, the Star Trek hologram, the holodeck, right?
When you're walking, it's kind of like this 3D mesh that says, "Hey, you're about to hit
something,"
or whatever. Which is, you know, once it's calibrated properly, and we should talk about it. I'll show some of the screenshots they took of the setup experience. It is important to set that up, you know, properly for your own safety, and to have the space allocated.
And make sure you don't break anything that you don't want to
clean up your room. Yeah. Clean up your room, and if you have other spectators coming in, tell them, hey, I'm going to be doing some wild stuff. Because it's amazing watching people use this thing for the first time. Once you put the touch controllers in their hand, they do experience presence. They forget.
Your hand. You can actually see your hands and start swinging.
And some of those intense titles, you're going to start swinging and ducking and moving around.
Which is a ton of fun. I mean, I had the girls, my girls are 7, had them try it out. And to watch them do this was very interesting and exciting, because for them, they adopted it relatively quickly, and your son was doing this as well, and he was a natural. Like, he's already swinging in the games, firing things off.
Yeah.
I mean, it really adds a new element. I think this is it's too bad that it didn't come with it, but now that they've done it, I think they've had a chance to learn. And the killer title for me was Minecraft. Wow. Like, you know, once you got into Minecraft.
Which is a title that worked before with the controller, and I honestly didn't know it was working with touch, but I should have.
But with touch, like, you were digging on, swinging with the other. It was a completely different experience.
Right.
And it was very very engaging and engulfing at the same time.
Yeah, and I think beyond gaming, there's the medium title, which is kind of Oculus' version of Tilt Brush, although I haven't used Tilt Brush personally for that Google's come out with. But it's, you know, 3D sculpting, and it's and there's a lot of the Quill is another one that I picked up. So just more drawing in 3D, and people can share and upload their art. It's a whole new art experience out there for artists. They can create these things that you can sort of walk through, paintings that are 3-dimensional. It's really quite an interesting experience. and how you can work in those spaces.
So if you have Oculus, definitely look at picking up the hand controllers. They are a needed addition.
Oh, it's a must. Yeah, I don't think.
And I would echo that. On the PlayStation, you need the Move controllers to really get engaged. But I think this is it's still the beginning. I sense 2017 is going to be a lot of interesting titles coming out. They're going to build on this and really take this to the next level. And I know Vive, they've come out with an addition that you don't need to be tethered, right? So it'll be interesting to see how that works.
Trying to cut the cord if they can get rid of or keep the latency down. Right?
Yeah. Lots of options, and I know later this year there's going to be a slew of other gadgets coming on board with at the lower end, based on what Microsoft's doing with their Creator update for Windows 10. So if you have Oculus, this is a must-have.
Yeah, and I think as far as titles, you're obviously going to get the titles that are bundled with it that take advantage of the 5-title bundle that was around the holidays, included Super Hot and a few other things. Which, by the way, that's definitely a recommended title as well. It's basically you're in the Matrix and you're doing all these different scenes where you're in a gun battle. But the thing is, time doesn't move unless you move. So the faster you move, the faster time goes. So you're moving slowly, dodging bullets, throwing knives and stuff. It's
totally wrecking your room.
Pretty intense, experience.
Very cool.
Dead and Buried was another good one too. But we'll certainly have follow-up episodes as you say the ecosystem sort of catches up with the hardware. But now I think it's game on now that Rift and Oculus have these type controllers, and you can be fully immersed in VR. It's pretty cool. I'm Paul.
I'm Pesh.